I told you in the email that we'll be working with the abs and what I'm going to refer to as the core. In my experience of that, when this first started, they were just talking about the belly as the core. But I'm talking about everything from your thigh into your lower ab. Okay, this whole area. So the abs are a very important part of this, but they're not all there is. Okay, so when we stand in Tadasana, so join your big toes, spread your toes out. Take the heels can be out a little bit if you need to, but get your big toes together. And then soften your knees and adjust your trunk so that your weight falls a little bit more in the heels. Not tremendously, but your toes should not come up off the floor. Now, I want you to, I'm going to turn to this, I'm not sure that helps with this dark background, but anyway, I'm going to try. So when we bend our knees, the tendency is the pelvis tips in this direction, that the tailbone goes up. But we have mobility here, we can turn our pelvis more perpendicular. Maintain that perpendicular orientation of the pelvis as you slowly and carefully press your heels down. Draw your kneecaps and your thighs, your front thighs and your back thighs upward, which will firm even more the muscles in the pelvic area. So we've got that area below the navel, the glutes and the thighs very active. The feet and leg are too, but the bigger muscles are here in this region. From that grip, maintain that grip and then release your trunk upward. And notice your solution to that direction. Did all of that happen in your front ribs? It's likely. So if that happened, then soften again, adjust your pelvis, press your feet down, and this time think of lifting up in the back ribs. After you've got your base, your core strong, lift up through your back ribs, and then let your shoulder blades slowly move back. Otherwise, the front ribs will get excited. Firm your arms, tighten the muscles in your arms, and extend your fingers down, and draw your head slightly back on its axis. Take your awareness now back to your feet. Draw yourself up from your feet. But when you get into your legs, the bigger muscles, of course, are in your thighs. Then engage the glutes, the lower abs. Then release up from the back, shoulders down, firm arms, head back. And breathe slow and steady. Watch your reaction to these instructions always, because we all have different body habits, strengths, weaknesses, issues, stuff like that. And one of the reasons we practice yoga is to become aware of those things and to see if we can improve and become a little more harmonious in our body and our mind and in our spirit. Can you maintain this action through the legs, pelvis, trunk as you bring your arms up? And notice what happens and when it happens. Sometimes at some point this tailbone will want to lift again. Notice when that happens and put it right back in its place, lovingly but firmly. And then when you bring your shoulders up, the same thing may want to happen. So watch that and know your habits. And then bring your arms down. So the practice of yoga is the practice of self-awareness, self-improvement, in merging our consciousness with a larger consciousness. All right, we're going to go to the wall. You can bring your sticky mat. You don't need a full wall. You could do this even on a bookcase if it was sturdy. This is going to be Utkatasana. So you'll stand in front of the wall. As we bend, you may need to, let me move this just a little more. There. We're going to bend our knees. So you'll probably need to walk your feet a little further out from the wall. So walk your feet out a bit and bend your knees. And keep your trunk fairly upright at this point. And keep bending your knees. Draw your pubic bone back to the wall. Draw the thighs back into the wall. So your back does not have to be at the wall, but keep it uplifted. And keep going until your legs are about 90 degrees, as close as you can. Bring your arms up and reach forward just a few degrees forward till your back is off the wall. Extend, extend. Draw your thighs back, draw your abdomen in and up, and breathe. And then put your hands back on the wall, straighten your legs, and come up. Rest on the wall for a moment. Just so you know, we're going to do 2 more. So get your breath. If that made your breath elevate a little bit, take some deep, steady breaths. I learned a trick once early in my yoga days that if your breath rate gets elevated, you want to calm it quickly, count the beats, and then you inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Make a nice big beat, breaths, and keep to that beat. And all of a sudden it will slow down. It's interesting. You ready? All right. Walk those feet out. Bend your knees down. Try to bring your thighs parallel to the floor. Bring your arms up. You can bring them up. Thumbs can touch the wall if you like, just for fun. And extend forward. Draw your abdomen up. Draw your thighs back into the wall and breathe. Then bring your hands to the wall. Push your hips away and straighten your legs. That'll get your heart rate up, right? So breathe, inhaling and exhaling to 4. Last one. Bend your knees. Bring your arms up. Extend forward. Reach for the ceiling. Thighs to the wall, abdomen up, and breathe. And hands to the wall and come up. You can walk your feet in and stand in Tadasana again. Big toes together. You can have your heels a little bit apart if you need to. Ultimately, toes and heels go together, but do what you need to do to get that straight. Draw up through your legs. Draw the kneecaps and thighs up. The glutes, the lower abs, move inward toward each other. Feel the firmness of your base. Make it strong. And then release from there up. Lifting through the back body. Watching what happens. Let your shoulders move back and down. Firm your arms, head back. All right. We're going to do Uttanasana at the wall. Yes. Yes. Uttanasana at the wall, 90 degrees only. So you're going to put your hands about waist high. Take a step out. Let your elbows remain slightly bent. Feet are hip width. Pose in a little bit. Knees are soft. Then as you're ready, fingers point up. As you're ready, begin with your feet. Press the heels down. Draw the kneecaps up. Press your thighs back. That hopefully will cue your lower abdominal muscles to lift. The glutes spread. The trunk lengthens. Take your thighs back away from the wall and up to straighten your arms. Slow, steady breath. Head in line with your arms. And then come up. Step in. All right. One of the big teachers for this action that we're working on is Virabhadrasana 1. So we're going to work on it at the wall. And don't make this, I mean, you're going to do your best pose, but make the point of the pose maintaining this pelvic alignment, not going deeper than you've ever gone before in the pose. Okay? So we're going to face the wall. Step your left foot a good distance back and step your right foot to the wall. If you can, put your toes up the wall. Your hand should be shoulder height. Now then, take the back heel up, square your hips. And by squaring, I mean take the left side of your hip toward the wall. Bring your tailbone forward, and your heel can be up. Lift your abdomen, lift your trunk, let your shoulders descend, and your neck lengthen. Now, after a few breaths here, can we be very focused on maintaining the lift and the actions that we've created as we take the left heel toward the floor? If you do that quickly, you're most likely to go back to your habit. And so we'll go slowly and focus on the pelvic area. Press the left heel toward the floor firmly. The kneecap will sort of draw up and the thigh will contract. And hold that action. If it's bothering your calf or your Achilles tendon, then you move in and out of it. Let's all come out of it for a second. Adjust your pelvis again, your trunk, your shoulders, and then straighten that left leg again. I think it's always kind of miraculous how much better it is the second time. Now, press the heel, the left heel down. Be mindful of your trunk. Keep your shoulders back and bend your right knee. Keep drawing your pelvis back. The pelvis will want to tip forward. I always say the belly button will want to blossom. So don't allow that. Keep your abdomen lifting. Sit on your back leg. That left glute can firm a little bit. Shoulders relaxed and down. This is really mostly about the legs. Keep breathing. And then come up, straighten your legs. Now turn that right foot square and the left foot square. Step in. Change sides. So step your right foot well back. Bring your left foot toes up the wall if you can. Get that right foot way back. It's awkward to adjust it once you're in this pose, so make that big adjustment now. So our hips have to square with the wall, hip bone to hip bone. So experiment with that. If the back heel needs to come up, that's fine. And then it needs to go perpendicular to the floor. So the tailbone moves in, pubic bone moves up. Firm the sides of the hips. We've talked about that. So compact the sides of your hips. Let your trunk lift up through the back body. Allow your shoulders to soften down and the neck be long. Think about Tadasana. When you're settled into that position, experiment with taking the right heel toward the floor while maintaining every single bit of this lift. And you will find you are challenged to do that because the body is always going to try to adapt to whatever it thinks you want. So we're teaching ourselves new tricks, and that'll take some time. You can firm that right hip glute just a little bit to firm up that abdomen, soften the shoulders, and begin to bend the left knee, pressing the right heel down, taking the tailbone in as fast as the knee goes, keeping them equal, and breathing. Squaring the hips, lifting the chest, softening the shoulders. And then straighten that leg. Square your feet. Step together. Tadasana. Okay. If you cannot get the back heel to the floor, a couple of things you can do. You can put a blanket down and then roll up your sticky mat inside the outside the blanket. Blanket's inside, sticky mat's on the outside, and then you roll them up, right? So the sticky mat will be outside. That'll give you something firm to press the back heel into. Okay, so we'll do that. You can do that as you practice, but let's practice this again. Right foot, well, let's start. Get big here. And then turn the right toes up the wall and get a big distance between your legs. Such a big distance that, I'm having to be on my fingertips right now because I'm quite far from the wall. Adjust your pelvis, square it up horizontally, vertically. Press into your back heel, which will firm that left glute a little bit. And that will help to firm the lower ab. Straight, strong legs, squared hip, lift your trunk, receive the shoulders, head on straight. Keep that back leg straight and focus on what's happening in your pelvis, trunk, shoulders as you bend the right knee. Keep the left leg straight, keep the hips square, keep it lifted, draw that abdomen in and up. Feel the strength of this core area from below the navel through the top thighs. Slow, steady breath. Can you bend your knee any more and keep that action? And slowly straighten your leg, square your feet, step in. Left foot in. Oh, I'm sorry. Feet parallel to the wall first. That helps you get a better distance. Then turn the left toes in, turn to right toes in, left toes out. Get a good distance, get the back heel at the right angle, proper angle. It's about a 20-degree inward turn. Square up your hips. They have to be square left to right, side to side, equidistant to the wall and perpendicular to the floor. It takes a little work, a little thoughtfulness. Once you feel you've gotten the best you can get from that, firm your legs more, draw up through those strong, firm areas, reinforce them, and lift up through your trunk, shoulders back, head back. Keep the firmness in your legs as you slowly bend that left knee. Watch your trunk. It wants to help make the legs and the core muscles do this work. Keep breathing. You don't need the wall, don't use it. And then come up, square up your feet, and join your feet together. All right, let's, we're gonna sit on the floor with your back to the wall. You may need a strap. If you need a blanket, in order to get your pelvis straight, take a small fold blanket at the wall. Sit in Dandasana. You can remember how we use the wall. It's a bit better. There. So when you use the wall, lean forward, lean your pelvis forward, and walk your hips back into the wall, very tight, so that when you sit up, it's the lower hip touching the wall, not your waist. It hits the wall mid-pelvis. Now, to sit up straight, you could just lean back at the wall and let your belly hang out here. That wouldn't be very yogic. So you can, first it'll help to at least draw your knees together. And then you can press down your heels and draw your abdomen up. Extend your legs, draw your abdomen up. Extend the heels and the balls of the big toes out. Shoulder blades should be back at the wall, back of the head, not pressed to the wall, but just an inch away maybe, no more. See how much of your outer arm you can roll toward the wall. And breathe. This would be a good time to get your breath back to a normal pace in case you've been a little quicker breath. Now, consider how it would be if you could lift your right leg just 2 inches off the floor without changing another thing. Well, the only muscles you're going to have to do that are the thigh and the abdominal muscles. You can firm up your whole leg, compact the hips a bit, and that will help the glutes. The glutes will help you lift your leg just 2 inches. 1, 2, 3, take it down. Sometimes that makes you feel like you're going to get a cramp up in your thigh. It'll go away. Sit up tall, compact the hips, press the legs down, lift your left leg. 1, 2, 3. Take it down. Take a breath, compact your hips, lift up, use your abdominal muscles, use your core. Right leg, 1, 2, 3. Take it down. Take a breath, stay strong. Left leg, 1, 2, 3, and come down. And relax. That's a very strengthening action. And for me, at least, I notice one leg wants to cramp, the other one doesn't care at all. But if I keep doing it, the one that wants to cramp finally gives up and just says, oh, fine, she's not going to listen to me at all. So just persist. Now, here's our last seated pose. You move away from the wall a bit, there a bit, because if you roll backward, I don't want your head to hit the wall. And we're going to bring our feet close to us and lift our chest. Now, you notice I didn't bring my feet all the way in yet. I'm going to lift up here in the abdomen, lift my trunk, make some space, bring my feet in closer. Hold with the arms and pull your trunk in and up. And breathe. See if you can get your feet any closer. Use your arms, shoulders down, chest up, and breathe. Figuring out how to get your feet in close may take a little time. Depends on your girth and your flexibility. Okay, but bring them in as tight as you can and pull your ribs toward your legs and your shoulders down and your chest up. The action of the trunk should not change as we change the action of the legs. So we want to maintain the lumbar spine in, the thoracic spine in, chest up, head back just a little bit. Hold on just with your hands if you can. Come up on your tiptoes and then take your feet off the floor. Keep your knees no wider than your trunk. Draw that abdomen in and up and breathe. And come down. Hold your knees, draw your trunk up, shoulders down, head back. Just this pose here, if you've got a very tight grip here and the front body is pressing onto the knees, it's very healthy. Brings a lot of circulation and energy into the midsection. Good action for the back and shoulders. Okay, one more time, hold your knees, no wider than your trunk. Lean back, take your feet up. If that is going well for you, if you're balanced, then you can reach inside your leg, grab a big toe, doesn't matter which one, and straighten your leg up, maintaining the lift of your trunk just as it was. And if your leg doesn't straighten, that's fine. You can still get a lot out of it with a bent knee. Okay, bring that down. Come down a moment. Join your knees in closer. Get your alignment back. Come up on your toes. Get your balance. If that's going well, you can reach inside. Grab your big toe. Keep that back concave. Lift your chest. Stretch your leg. Your chest has to go up as your leg goes up. Shoulder blade down and breathe. and come down. And rest for a moment. Now you have a choice. If the one we just did, 1 foot at a time, was a struggle, or you couldn't get your legs straight, then repeat that. Okay, if your leg wasn't straight, or you rolled over, or was really struggling with that one, then repeat it. That's wonderful. It's a lot of fun. If, however, that went really well for you, maybe a little work, but went pretty well, let's try 2 at a time, right? All right, so if you're going 1 leg at a time, start with your right leg. If you're going 2 at a time, you're going to reach through, grab your big toes. You can straighten 1 at a time. Draw your lumbar in, your chest up, your head back, straighten your legs. It's so much fun to find the equal action between the legs and the trunk to find balance. Keep breathing. And if you're doing 1 leg at a time, change. And if you rolled over, get up again. And then come down. I think that's just a world of fun. Okay, so now, and for the rest, most of the class, I want us to work on breath awareness. It's not a true pranayama class, but it's breath awareness. I want to contrast and compare our normal, everyday human breath with what we're taught, at least as a pranayama breath. They're different, and so I'd like for us to explore those differences. So for this, you could have 2 blankets. Well, you know, I forgot to tell you how to use your strap in that last pose. I'm so sorry, but it probably was obvious. If you couldn't reach your toe or straighten your leg, use a strap. So this blanket starts this way, and you put one end on the ground and then hold it about 1/3 of the way and just fold it over. And bring that, I'm going to come away from the wall. You can come away from the wall. You're going to have to listen pretty carefully because pranayama is a more subtle action. It's hard to teach in person. And so because we can't all get up close to my belly, we just have to experiment. So that's what we're going to do. Everybody just about ready? So when you lay down, let this edge of the blanket come just above your waist in this soft area between the bones of your hip and the bones, the floating ribs here. And when you lay down, gonna lift and lengthen yourself a moment rather than just laying down as usual. But as you know, nothing is as usual in yoga. And then lay down. So first of all, assess, did you lay down evenly and equally on the blanket? Do both sides feel the same off of the blanket? You can take your glasses off for this. And do you have enough of your hip on the floor for stability? and roll your shoulder blades under, and then pull the blanket a little closer to you so that the blanket touches the top of your shoulders and is nicely under the back of your head. So we want the chin to be down just slightly. And if your back is feeling a little tight, you can leave your knees bent for the moment. It'll be fine. But if your back is fine, then one leg at a time, stretch your legs out and see what happened. Maybe your back arched to make that happen. That's okay. Stretch your legs a little further. Take advantage of that back arch. And then use your abdominal muscles to draw the pelvis back to a more level position. It will be slightly arched, but bring it back into a more neutral position. Then I want you to put your hands on your belly so that whatever your longest fingers are, for most people it's the middle fingers, but whatever they are. If it's the middle finger and the pointer finger, that's fine. Just have your hands where the fingertips are touching one another. And then relax. And go into your just normal breathing. In fact, take a few normal breaths, a little bigger than usual. This is not yoga breath. If you know yoga breath, don't do it yet. Breathe normally as inhaling, the belly rises up. And as you exhale, the belly softens down. So take a few breaths like that, a little bigger than usual, and notice how, as you inhale, the tips of the fingers move apart and up. And as you exhale, they come together and down. You can let your breath move into a little bit more normal rhythm, but use this kind of breathing. Notice what happens. Notice how the fingers move. Notice how your rib cage moves. Notice where you sense the movement of breath. How far up your trunk does the breath go? See if you can slow your breath just a tiny bit more. With your eyes closed, imagine where you can sense that breath. Be sensitive. Can you allow that breath to come up into the upper chest? Can you feel it on your sternum, that breastbone in the center? Eyes are closed, lips are closed, tongue is relaxed. Experience this breath. Just another minute. And if you notice that your fingers have slipped apart and aren't touching anymore, reposition them so that they're touching. Because this is, we're exercising our awareness here more than our breath. Bring that breath up into the upper chest. Eyes relaxed, jaw relaxed. Notice the centralized nature of this breath. Now then just take your hands to the side, relax your legs, and rest for a moment. Let your breath do what it does. Notice how you're feeling at this moment. All right, bring your feet back together. Roll those center thighs down, extend through the hips, draw the abdomen up. It's just a slight suggestion at this point. We're not being muscular. And bring your hands back to your belly so that at least the longest fingers touch. Everybody's hands, just like the rest of you, is different than everybody else's. Well, this time I want to talk about this yogic approach to breathing. And of course, it challenges our normal breath. It asks for something different. Not simply to be different, because it has its own efficiency. Instead of the belly rising up and down with the movement, now as you inhale, the sides of the belly widen and the crown of the belly goes down as you inhale. And as you exhale, it may return to its normal space, not going up, but just relaxing back. If this seems very foreign to you, well, that's normal. So as you inhale, imagine that the two sides of your belly are broadening, that your waist is broadening, and that the belly goes down a bit. And as you exhale, the sides come back together. Fingertips go back together with that action. This is a more subtle action than the first breath. Stay after it. As you inhale, broaden. And as you exhale, fingertips come back together. Belly may stay about the same or go up a little. Keep that breath going. Just your normal breath, nothing strenuous at all. And then take your hands down, relax your legs for a moment. See if you can continue that sensation of breath without your hands there. Feel it in your belly, broadening as you inhale, relaxing as you exhale. You can even imagine it becoming a bit concave, sinking in as you exhale. Again, that's not a muscular action. Now bring your feet back together, hands back on your belly. Hands are there just for information. Begin that yogic breath again. As you inhale, start with your fingertip touching. And then as you inhale, the belly widens and the crown of that belly moves down. And as you exhale, it stays down. It might even go a little further down. This requires a little muscular action. At least in the beginning. You feel the movement, perhaps in the waist area. Can you feel the breath moving up through the waist area? Keep your eyes relaxed, your jaw relaxed. And how does this breath affect your ribs? We felt the last breath in the lower ribs. Do you feel that here? The way that we spread the breath through the body is by opening and welcoming the breath there. It's a releasing of the area. Can you release your lower ribs and the ribs in the midsection so that you can feel the movement of breath a little more there? And as you inhale, the rib cage seems to broaden. And as you exhale, it settles back in. As you inhale, welcome the breath up into the chest, up into that rib cage. And if you're not getting the responses that I'm suggesting, please do not worry. Just imagine what it would be like if you could do that. You will still benefit from this exercise, either way. Could you welcome that breath a little bit higher up into the upper chest, up underneath your armpits? As you inhale, the belly spreads to the side. The body widens, and as you exhale, it settles back to the center. Completely releasing the rib cage at the end of that exhale. And then take your hands back to the floor. Relax your legs. Relax your eyes. You may need to move your arms a bit. We've been holding them very still for a while. And then release them. Relax your hands. You may open and close your hands a few times. And then relax. See if you relaxed your legs evenly and equally. See if you're straight on your blanket. Notice your breath, however it is. Notice your breath. I will suggest that the second breath, where we imagine that the belly, as you inhale, filled to the side rather than to the center, led us to a breath that was experienced more laterally through the rib cage toward the outer ribs than centrally through the center. Now, the second breath certainly is, as you learn it, will involve the sternum and be quite complete. But at their base, these are kind of basic differences, generally speaking. And if you're experiencing it differently, it's fine. Don't be concerned. Your experience is valid. But as you rest now, can you notice the movement of your belly? The movement through your waist? Movement through your ribs? Which ribs move and which ones don't? It may take some practice to move those upper ribs under your armpits without some real effort. Let it develop as it develops. Soften your shoulders down. Perhaps you can feel that breath all the way to your sternum. Mr. Iyengar used to say that the breath should hit what he called the dashboard of the sternum. And then normal breathing without any thought at all about what's happening. Let the ribs do what they will. Let the belly do what it will. Let your mind sink in. Your awareness move in. Your eyes soften, your jaw soften. And then gently begin to move your fingers and toes. Wrists and ankles. Bend your elbows. One at a time, bend your knees and place your feet flat. You can put your hands back on your body, either along the ribs or the belly, whatever's handy. Not to measure, but just to be in contact. Now remembering that we're a little elevated on the floor, bring your right arm up higher. Your left arm goes across to the floor. Roll your knees and rest on your right side for a moment. Because we practice breathing for a little longer than usual, we're going to rest here for just a little bit longer than usual. Enjoy this part of the process as a delicious bridge between that internal focus and a more outward focus. Let your mind balance out. Give it a little time. And when you're ready, you can roll forward, push yourself up to sitting, first with your left hand and then with your right. You come to sitting in any position that feels comfortable to you, where you can sit up straight. You can cross your legs in any configuration here that feels good to you. It can be the feet wider, feet more narrow, half Padmasana or full Padmasana. Whatever you are comfortable doing, this is not a time to force anything. And sit there. The nice thing about having the feet further out is that the knees are more equal, which makes the hips more equal. And then sit tall and draw the thighs into the hip socket, just with your suggestion, not muscularly now. Draw the tailbone forward, the pubic bone toward the tailbone, again, with your intention, not muscular. Let your trunk lift, shoulders move back and down, neck is long. Balance yourself in this position. Bring your palms together in the center chest. The thumb side touches the sternum just below the breast. Press the heels of your hands together. Draw your shoulder blades down. Lift up the neck. Lift the trunk. Maintain that lift of the chest as you bow your head in gratitude for all the blessings of your life. Namaste. Thank you for coming.